Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you all are in the pink of health. This is your English teacher, Vinita Mittal. I welcome you all to our English class. Students, tell me, do you like listening to bedtime stories? Yes, all children like listening to bedtime stories. Okay, now tell me, have you listened to any fairy tale? Good. Okay, have you ever heard about elves? Yes, elves are the small imaginary creatures with pointed ears who have magic powers. Okay, now tell me, what are fairy tales? Fairy tales are the stories for children. Those feature imaginative characters and are about magic deeds, fairies, and giants. And these tales also have some moral teachings. So children, today we are going to read an interesting fairy tale written by the brothers Grimm. In this story, we are going to know how the little elves helped the poor shoemaker. Okay, students? Yes, this is our chapter number 6, The Night the Elves Came. Now, I am going to read the chapter. Okay? Once upon a time, there lived a shoemaker. He lived in a cottage at the end of a village. His shoes were not well made and so nobody bought them. Students, underline the words cottage. Okay? And the next word is bought. Yes, cottage means small house and bought means to get something by paying money for it. Students, it is a story of a poor, hard-working shoemaker who gives us the message of hard work, that hard work always pays in the long run. Okay, the poor shoemaker lived in a cottage at the edge of a village. He made shoes for his livelihood, but his shoes were not beautifully and effectively made, so no one bought them. Okay, yes, he became very poor and his wife was unhappy. Okay, the shoemaker became poor day by day and his wife also was very unhappy because they worked hard and didn't get enough money to live their life. Yes, students, enough means sufficient. Okay, I now have only enough leather left to make one pair of shoes. I will leave the leather pieces on the table and complete it the next day. Okay, students, now underline the word enough and leather. Yes, enough means sufficient and leather means animal skin that has been specially treated and used for making shoes, bags, clothes and so on. Okay, one day the shoemaker thought that he had left with the leather of only one pair of shoes. Okay, so he cut the leather and left the pieces of the leather on the table to complete them the next day. Okay, next morning the shoemaker went down to his stable. He couldn't believe his eyes. Okay, next day when the shoemaker woke up and went down to his stable, okay, what he saw? Yes, there he saw a beautifully made pair of shoes. He was so surprised and couldn't believe what he saw. Okay, there is a fine pair of shoes on the table. How is this even possible? This is a wonderful surprise indeed. Yes, students, underline the word indeed. Indeed means really. The shoes were so beautiful and well made that a rich man who was passing by saw them and paid double the usual price for it. Yes, students, underline the word usual. Usual means normal. Okay, yes, the shoes were so beautiful that a rich man who was passing by saw them, paid the double price for the shoes. Okay, the shoemaker was very happy. I have bought enough leather to make 2 pairs of shoes. I have cut it now and I will stitch the shoes tomorrow. Okay, when the rich man bought the shoes and paid the double price for them, the shoemaker was very happy. Okay, and bought the leather to make 2 pairs of shoes. Okay, again he cut the leather. Okay, and he felt very tired and went to bed. Next morning he came down rubbing his sleepy eyes and yawning. He couldn't believe his eyes. Yes, students, underline the word yawning. Yawning means to open your mouth wide and breathe in deeply, especially when you are tired and sleepy. Okay, again next morning when the shoemaker came to his table and was rubbing his eyes to wake up, he saw the 2 fine pairs of shoes. Okay, again he was so surprised and he couldn't believe his eyes. The magic has happened again. There are 2 fine pairs of shoes on the table. Tell me honestly, have you been working at night when I was sleeping? No. I have no idea how these pairs of shoes were made. Okay, again the shoemaker saw the 2 fine pairs of shoes on the table and again he was very surprised. Okay, so he asked his wife whether she had made the shoes the previous night, but his wife said that she hadn't and also she had no idea. Okay, these pairs of shoes were sold quickly. The shoemaker and his wife were very happy. Now, this happened night after night. Soon the shoemaker was quite rich and happy. Yes, student, those pairs of shoes were also sold quickly in no time. Then the shoemaker and his wife became very happy. And this happened every night for a long time after that. The shoemaker and his wife became very rich. Okay. Yes, one night the shoemaker and his wife hid behind the curtains to find out who was making the shoes. Okay, one night the shoemaker and his wife decided to find out who was being so kind to them and making shoes at midnight. Okay, so they hid behind the curtains. Around midnight, 2 little elves came creeping. Yes, students, underline the word creeping. Creeping means walking in slowly and silently. The little elves worked hard all night, stitching, hammering and making the shoes. Yes, students, underline the word stitching. Stitching means to sew. Okay, and the next word is hammering. Hammering means by hitting something many times with hammer. Okay, around midnight, the shoemaker and his wife saw that 2 little elves came quietly and worked hard all the night to make the shoes. As the dawn came, they flew out of the window singing merrily. Yes, student, underline the word dawn. Dawn means early morning. And the next word is merrily. Merrily means happily. Okay, and in the early morning, the elves moved out of the window. They were singing happily. Yes, students, tell me, why were the elves happy? Yes, the elves were happy because they helped the poor shoemaker and his wife, and helping others always gives happiness. Okay, now we know who has been stitching the shoes for us. have you noticed that they are wearing tattered clothes and are shivering in the cold? Yes, students, underline the words tattered. Tattered means old and torn. Next word is shivering. Shivering means shaking because of cold. Okay, after knowing the truth, the shoemaker and his wife were filled with the feeling of being thankful, and also they wanted to thank the elves. Okay, the shoemaker and his wife noticed that the elves were wearing old and torn clothes and also were shaking because of the cold. Okay, I want to thank them for all they have done for us and will make little shoes for them. Yes, we should. I will make little clothes for them. So, the shoemaker's wife decided to stitch clothes for them, and also the shoemaker decided to make shoes for them. Okay, so they set to work and made two neat pairs of clothes and shoes for the elves. The wife folded the clothes neatly and left them on the table. Okay, after that, the shoemaker and his wife worked hard and made the two fine pairs of clothes and shoes for the elves. Okay, the shoemaker's wife folded the clothes and kept them on the table. That night, the elves came creeping silently into the room, but there was no leather on the table, but a pile of clothing and little shoes, just the right size for them. Okay, at night, when the elves came again, but now what they saw? Yes, there was no leather. There they found the sets of clothes and two pairs of little shoes for of their size. Okay, the elves were overjoyed. They wore their clothes and danced and sang on the table in delight. Students, underline the words overjoyed. Overjoyed means extremely happy. Okay, and next word is delight. Delight means with great joy. Okay, now the elves were very happy. They wore the clothes, danced and sang on the table with joy. Okay, the elves flew out of the window, never to be seen again. As for the shoemaker and his wife, they had learnt to make fine pairs of shoes and could now live in comfort. They lived happily ever after. Okay, then the elves moved out of the window and never came again, because the shoemaker and his wife had learnt to make nice pairs of shoes and could now live the pleasant life. And after that, they lived happily. Okay, students? Yes, this is the story of gratitude and compassion. Yes, students, what does gratitude mean? Yes, gratitude means the feeling of being thankful, and compassion means understanding and having concern for suffering of others. Okay, so my dear children, now tell me, what do you learn from the story? Yes, we must be thankful for all the help we receive from others, and also we must try to help the needy people. Helping others is very important in life because it makes us happy, and if we help someone else, then someone else also helps us. So, dear kids, gratitude and compassion for each other are needed to make the world a better place to live. Students, I hope you have understood and enjoyed the story. Okay, read the chapter thoroughly. Okay, we will meet in the next class. Take care. Bye.